Welcome to...
Oh! Cruel. Cruel.
Cruel fraternity.
This is going to be great. You guys are easily entertained. How's everyone doing? How are you? Would you like to start this panel with a true truth? Are you ready? So usually I only do one panel per weekend, and tomorrow I'm going to do a panel with me and Max. And they were like, would you do another panel for us? Would you do a solo panel? And I was like, no! And they were like, please? And I said, no, it's in my contract! And then they said, don't be a jerk. And I said, only if it's date everything themed. That said, we will answer some, we'll do all of our date everything stuff, we'll talk, but then later on in the evening, if you want to ask about your favorite anime or something else, we can talk about whatever you want. I'm here for you, but we'll kick things off with some date everything stuff, and we'll just chit chat and hang out. Whew. So I have nothing prepared for this. Because we release in a month! We've already announced, I'd say, about 75% of the cast. We have about another 30 announcements to go, somewhere around there. It feels crazy, right? There are a couple of characters that like slipped through the cracks that got announced at cons and stuff and nobody ever heard about. It was really funny. Damien Haas was in London, and I was like, Damien, we're gonna announce Matt Mercer as the D20. It's gonna be such a big deal. You're gonna play the game on stage. Like, will you do it for? He's like, yeah, I got you. And like, he did it, and nobody talked about it at all. It was very funny. And then the internet happened, and we announced Matt like a month ago or so. It's so fun. But did anybody here get dragged here by their friends, and they have no idea what I'm talking about? Fantastic. The next 45 seconds to 90 seconds are for you. It's gonna be longer than that, I'm sorry. So about 7 years ago, Max Middleman, Ray Chase, and I... Oh, hi, my name's Robbie Daymond. It's nice to meet you. I kind of just assumed that if you were at this panel, you knew what you were here for. But there's always that one person, like a friend, and the friend is like, bro, you said we were gonna go get tacos. And we're like, his date, everything. We've been doing our stage show for about like 3 years. Has anybody seen the Lava Show before? Great. So we're doing the stage show, and we were like, hey, we want to do more stuff. So we threw a bunch of irons in the fire. We had a company that we built out that was sold a product that was ready to drop, that we invested tens and stuff. We invested a lot of money in it. And then we were just like, yeah, we don't want to do that. And it was a good idea too. We burned it. We put a bunch of feelers out and did a bunch of pilots and shorts for like television and for cartoons and stuff like that. Max and I made some music. Ray ended up doing a podcast called Sky Brother Force that actually went out. Yeah, see, we got some fans that actually went out into the world. But the one thing we always wanted to do was make a video game. We knew in our heart of hearts that that's where we had the most strength and connects in the business and enough business acumen to make it happen. So around 2018 or so, we started to like, we're gonna make a company and make a game. And we're gonna be an indie company, and we're gonna invest our own money, and we're gonna do something we don't know how to do at all. None of us are coders, none of us are programmers, but we have talented friends. Ray had been going to GDC forever, and they were like, okay, we're gonna make a game. Did all the taxes, made the company, opened a bank account, and then went, uh-oh, what game do we make? So we knocked on a ton of ideas, and we were like, well, we're not the ones to make like Call of Duty or a fighting game. We don't know how to do that. We like those kinds of games, but we don't know how to do that. What would lean into our narrative strength? And we were like, man, I don't feel like there's been a banger dating sim in a minute. So what? And then we were like, okay, dating sim. Okay, what do we know about the genre? We know Doki Doki. Dream Tag had come out a couple of years before. And like, we were familiar with like the more traditional ultimate games from like Japan and all that stuff. And we're like, what can we do that's different? It was like, well, it seems like in the West it has to be like a satire sim. And like, well, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do Colonel Sanders, for sure. Not that Colonel Sanders isn't a great experience. I'm sure it's a great game. But we didn't want to just be a joke. But then we were like, wait a minute, everybody knows us as the funny guys. What if we make it like a joke, but then we do it for real? What if we give you a silly idea executed at a really high level? And then I said, well, what's it gonna be? It can't be pigeons, we've already done that. And then I was like, I can't remember where it was, if we were out to dinner, if we were officially in a writing room or session, and I said, I don't know, fuck it, man, what if we just date everything? And then we all went, that's stupid, you can never do that. And then Ray and I started talking to each other. And we were like, could we do that? So we sat on it, and a couple of days later, Ray always wanted to be the director and creative lead on it. Ray came to me and was like, hey man, I want to date everything and run with it. I was like, would you be cool if I was the director on this, and this is what we put our energy into for the next 18 months or so? It's like, yeah man, I think it's got legs. So we got a great team of writers together, we got a great team of developers together. This is somewhere around 2018, 19, and we built a vertical slice. Let's talk money. Are any of you here like aspiring devs or anything like that, or are you just here for the yucks? Good, a couple? Okay, so I'll keep the boring stuff between us. We dumped like 70, 80 grand into it just to make the vertical slice. Making stuff is expensive. Now that doesn't mean that you can't do it for way less than that. I'm sure there's plenty of dating sims on Steam right now that were made for less than that, for less than our vertical slice. But we were pitching something big. We were always going to do 100 dateable characters, and we always wanted it to be fully voiced. We did not know that would ruin our lives. Last year was the worst year of Ray and I's life. It destroyed everything that we held dear. It was nearly impossible, but we came out on the right end of it, and we put everything else we were doing to the side. Those of you who followed Lava for a long time know I used to make vlogs, we used to do streams, we used to do a whole bunch of other stuff, and we said, can't do any of that, we just gave ourselves a new 80-hour-a-week job. So, the long and short of it is, we built our vertical slice, we pitched it around at GDC in 2019, got a bunch of offers, nothing was quite right. Everybody was like, what about 25 characters? And then somebody was like, all right, we'll give you all the money you need, but we want 70% of it. And we're like, oh, that's not gonna work. We're like, we'll give you all the money we need, but we wanna own some of the IP. And they're like, that's a hard no for us too. So, long story short, we turned them all down, and then we went, we'll just pick up pitching soon. And that was like March of 2020. So we got cooked. COVID came on and said, help. And we said, oh no one's taking pitches anymore. Nobody knew if the world was gonna be there in a couple months. So nobody was like, yeah, we'll make your dating sim, cool, bro. I'm trying to buy bread right now. But long story short, we took that time, picked it back up, retooled the vertical slice. If you don't know what a vertical slice is, it's a short playable demo that's like a proof of concept. And then things were kind of getting back to normal. And they were like, okay, we're ready to pitch again. And we got a phone call from the receptionist of one of the companies that we had pitched at previously. And she came to us and said, hey, I remember your game, and I know you didn't go with us as publishers, because we're the developers. And as a publisher, you need someone to give you money to make the game, and then bring it to market, and help you with things like marketing and QA and all that stuff. And she said, I have a friend who specializes in getting indie devs in front of money. Do you want to meet them? So we met them. That was Amanda Hufford, who's now one of our supervising producers on the game. And they said to us, let me do this for you. And we went, well, what do you want? And they said, nothing. I just want, yeah, right? She said, nothing. I just want a job when you saw your awesome game. And we went, okay. Got us a bunch of pitches, and we ended up landing with our publisher, Team 17, out of London, who did games like Dredge, Overcooked. Back in the 90s, they did Worms. They did Survivalists. They're doing Zootopia right now. So they're an indie dev in London that's in the UK that's really specializing in first-time devs and teaching them how to do what they do. So we knew we needed support on the back end. So that was in 2022. It's about 6 months of lawyering where you go, I want this, figure it out. And then we landed on a contract we liked at the end of 2022, and we started pre-production at the end of 2022. So it's taken us roughly, about 2.5 years to get this thing launched. It was originally an 18-month production cycle. We had roughly 20 milestones that we had to hit. We had delays and mess-ups and all of this stuff. If you've been following the game, you know we've been delayed twice. But it's for the best reasons. We could have released the game in February. It just wouldn't have been very fun. It would have been buggy and not the product that we wanted to put out. So that was kind of like the development cycle of how the game happened. A lot of stuff happened in between that time, especially in production. But that's sort of the story of how it came to be. How we landed on becoming a fully SAG-voiced video game. We signed the interim agreement during the strike, and we hired 100, in my opinion, of like the best voice actors in the world. It's crazy that this game, I'm finally saying this confidently, this little game, this little big game, probably has the best video game cast of all time. it's like Troy Baker plays a Nordic track. I was like, here's Laura Bailey as your hamper. Here's Ashley Johnson as a cardboard box. It's just these heavy hitters in video games that are like absolute goats. We couldn't get everybody because there's more than 100 voice actors, but this game is crazy. So couldn't be more proud of the cast. Couldn't be more proud of our art team. Our game is complete. We didn't use any AI to generate anything in the game. Which we could, but we didn't. We had a staff of 25 writers. We had artists in the dozens. There are over 11,000 individual hand-drawn images in the game. Every single expression, every wink, every blink, every smile, every blush is drawn by hand. And then all the art pieces that go along with it. There's 1.6 million written words. Of those 1.6 million words, 1.3 are fully voiced. We've got over 70,000 individual voice lines, not including duplicates. And we have no idea how long it's going to take for your first playthrough. Yeah, it's interesting. We don't really know. We have some guesstimates. Here's the crazy thing. So, if you haven't seen the trailers, the premise of the game is you're a lonely shut-in. I promise we wrote this before COVID. Who gets a remote job and then is immediately the same day they're hired, they get replaced by AI. But this was before AI was even really a thing. So we're like, we're Nostradamus in a game about kissing your toaster. By the way, if I hear one more joke about taking the toaster on a date in the bathtub, I don't want to... Next to J.D. Vance jokes, it's the most common date everything joke. Yeah, we all read the book, JD. You can play it. What if I just sent him a free download code? That'd be pretty funny. Nah, just kidding. I don't want to give that guy anything for free. If he wants to bang that couch, he's got to pay for it. This is so stupid. But anyway, we're super proud of our team. At our peak last summer, we had about 45 to 50 people working on the game between our contractors and our employees. We've had a huge amount of turnover, we've had people come and go, but in the end, I think what we landed on, I hope you all will find that it's a very heartfelt and earnest experience. One of the things we were surprised we had to push back on a little bit, which we didn't have to do, it's been proving itself. You never really push back, was the true more traditional dating sim fans being like, oh, another Western satire one. And I'm like, no, wait. Come back. I promise you the refrigerator has a compelling storyline. And I've also really enjoyed, and you don't ever you let people guess, you don't really engage with it. But it's really funny, people are like, there's 100 characters. There's no way that you can get more than a couple of minutes of play daytime with them. I'm like, you get cooked. And it's like every single character I would say has somewhere around four to eight different dates. Some are a little bigger and longer that they go in, and a minimum of about an hour playtime per character.
Wow.
And that's one playthrough. So you can get each one of our characters when you finish their story, where you help them with whatever they're going through, or they help you, or you let them engage in the environment, or whatever, you get one relationship status, and that's sort of, not really, but sort of the end of their major arc. And it's friendship, love, or hate. You could mess it up so bad you could get a hate ending with the character. You could get your love ending, and you can get your friend ending. It's really very much a dating sim. We're not a kindness token dating sim. You can't just be like, hey, you're a hot toaster, and they're like, tee, I love you. We might have a character that is the exact opposite. They're telling you subtly that maybe they don't like to be perceived very much, and if you continue to like overtly flirt with them, they'll give you subtle hints that it's just like a real relationship. Yeah. So I had this grand plan in the beginning, and I hope that it comes to fruition one day, where we're much like a Telltale game. When I say you're collecting metadata, it sounds so evil. It's not true. We're just clocking how you play. So at the end of the game, you'll get a blueprint of what you did throughout the game. All your nulls, who you dated and how, like what kind of ending you have with them. And those possible permutations are right under 1 million. It's like 930,000 different permutations between like who you loved and how you loved them and whether or not you even met them. Because there are characters hidden all over the game. So my big dream is, I'm telling you in this panel, and I'm gonna do everything I can to make it happen. I wanna make the playthrough shareable so that you could upload and then meet people organically through, we're gonna launch an official Discord at some point, I think, and to get people to meet and greet and chit chat about how they played. But my dream is for people to be able to opt in and share that data and use it as their personality test for a real life dating app. Now listen, I'm not saying that I want to create life. That I want people to fall in love and make babies because of date everything. But if it happened, and you named one of them Robbie, Ray, or Max, I wouldn't cry. No, I'm just kidding. But that is something that we're looking at, a dream that we had. But the idea is there that this is a true dating simulator, and a lifelong version. And people would say to us, well, how did you create 100 different characters and they're all unique? Like, you're gonna run out of tropes. And we go, no, we just didn't write tropes. We wrote 100 people. There's double or triple that in this room right now. Are all of you different? Very much so. If we all dated each other, don't think about it too hard. We'd all have very different experiences. So while there are like bits and tropes and stuff like that in the game, sure, Jerry the drunk, that's not a character. Jerry the drunk is not a character. Jerry the junk drawer is. They lean into it a little bit. He's a little messy. He needs to get his stuff together. He's trying to figure out life a little bit more. We lean into what they are. It impacts their personality. But outside of that, we just want you to treat them like real people. We want you to listen to them when you're on your date. We want you to pick the option that feels honest. And we want you to play as yourself. At the beginning of the game, you can pick a few personalizations, but it is first person. So it's pretty light. You can pick your name, the town you're from, a couple other things, and then you just get to be you. And you're just a cipher, because it's in first person. You can't see any of your body, it's just hands, you're just kind of walking. So we hope that you play as you play. If you want to play as a horny weirdo, go for it. But, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, if you want to go and have a full ACE playthrough, you can. You can just befriend everything. You can avoid those advances. You can just play a fully platonic dating sim, which I don't know if there is one. Maybe there is. I don't know all dating sims ever made. And if you want to be a total asshole, you can go and shoot for a hate everything playthrough. It's tough. It's tough. We have a character voiced by Mika Burton, LeVar Burton's daughter, a lovely person and a friend, Fantina the Fan, and this one's a little on the nose. She's like literally your biggest fan, and to get a hate ending with her, you got work. You got to figure it out. It's a puzzle, but it's all doable, and your choices matter. Once you get a relationship status with someone, unless there's a cooked-in story-based backdoor, that's it. You're done. You've run its course. So however now of course you can save spoof and all that stuff if you want to see a different outcome. But we hope you do an honest playthrough save so you get that blueprint at the end and you look at it and you go, man, why do so many people hate me? or you go, I'm super lovable. My buddy came in town and he was playing our daily QA build. Every day we get a fresh build with all the QA fixes. And he was playing it and we were meant to go camping for my birthday. This was just last weekend. And we were like packing up and doing all this stuff. And he was hanging out in my office and I had a little couch in there and I like dozed off. And I woke up at like 1 a.m. and he's still playing. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? I was like, we're going camping tomorrow. He's like, yeah, I'm already packed. And I'm like, okay. So I went upstairs and went to bed and
Another one?
No.
A dust storm.
A dust storm?
Never mind.
You can't date the dust storm. Take it easy. In part 1. Kidding. There'd be sand everywhere. Don't think too hard about it. But what was I talking about? I forgot.
Your buddy stayed up at 1 in the morning.
Oh yeah. So the next morning I came back in to get him for breakfast and he was still playing. He had never played a dating sim before. He's a huge gamer and he played for 12 hours before we left for our camping trip. And he was like, I love this. And he ended up getting a hate ending with one of my favorite characters. And he was like crushed. He was like, no. I was like, what did you do, dude? He's like, I was just trying to be honest with her. I was like, I didn't want to hurt her. And I was like, yeah, but I was like, she's telling me she wanted something really bad. You can't be that overt. So like, there's this character that's like mixed up in this. It's not what you think. They're mixed up in a multi-level marketing scheme. And they're like, help me, I don't know how to meet people. And they're so into it. She's so like, I've never had anything for myself before. I feel like this is for me. Like it's somebody that's like on Facebook selling you Herbalife. And you're like, I'm sorry if anybody sells Herbalife. I'm sure it's a great product. But they're like, this is for me. I want this so bad. But like, if you clock that it's an MLM too early and you're like, oh man, I can't do that for you. You're in an MLM. She's like, why? This is for me. And you're like, no. And you get it. You get a hate ending. But you have to like figure out how to navigate their feelings so that you can maybe help them. You can help them in their multi-level marketing scheme with other dateables in the house. Or you can figure out a way to do it ethically and like let them down and try to find something else for them. So that's one of my favorite storylines, and he was crushed. So let's see, I feel like I should tell you something special because this is a panel.
Yes.
All right, I hope Ray doesn't get mad at me.
Oh no.
We have a mechanic in the game. We have a simple mechanic where via very secret routes you can get these, and they're pretty hard to get, but they are gettable. And they're little candies, and they're based on all of our 5 stats. And if you get them, you can undo for each one hate ending. You can come back and apologize and beg for forgiveness. And they're like, maybe, depends on how much of an asshole you were. And they'll be like, all right, let's start over. And then they'll kick you back to whatever story beat you messed up on. And you'll get a chance to, we don't want to like murk people's playthroughs and force them to save spoof. if they are shooting for a certain outcome. But we don't want to make it so it's powerless. Like, you don't want to make it feel like you can just change everything, because once they have changed everything. I'm in a weird headspace. Everything I look at, I was like, hot or not. Gotta figure it out. But anyway, that's the core of the game. I could talk all day about it. I have already talked for 29 minutes about it. We don't need that. If you have questions, and I feel like they're not spoilery, if you want to ask about the game itself, if you want to ask about whatever, if you want to ask about the development process, anything you're interested in, I'm glad to talk about. And then if we cap out on Date Everything, we can talk about other bullshit, because you got me for an hour. Sound good? Okay, cool. That was a quick hand. Right over there, my friend.
I'm just curious if you ever tried Monster Prom or one of its sequels.
Yeah!
Funny game, but it was so frustrating because all the characters just talk like forum trolls.
That is true. So you liked the game, but you maybe weren't the biggest fan of the dialogue itself, or you liked that they were forum trolls?
It's one of those good ideas that should have happened because really great cartoon graphics, multiplayer,
Yeah.
stats.
Well, they obviously did well enough because there's like 3 Monster Prom games, right? Yeah, but that just goes to show you that not everything is for everybody. It's hard to make something for everybody. Yeah, we actually had a meeting with the Monster Prom team when we first started because we were looking to see if there were room for a collab. We have you monster people in mind for Date Everything. We have a few that have been revealed. Alex Lee, we all know Alex. He plays Shadow Lord 420XX. He's a monster. We have Freddy the Yeti. He's a big, sexy Yeti who's your refrigerator. And we've got Rebel. She's your rubber ducky, who's like a anthropomorphic latex ducky. It's gonna do it for somebody, I don't know. But if you're a monster fan, there are a few characters who are monsters throughout. I personally think Dishy is a monster.
Yes.
Dishy is our dishwasher. And it's just a dishwasher with a cartoon face and hairy human man legs. It's like there's a naked guy in a mascot suit. It's the closest thing to a villain we have in a game. Like, this is no spoilers because it's already been released in the Meet the Dateable videos which we've been doing, which, by the way, if you haven't checked them out, like, it's word of mouth stuff and sharing with your friends is so huge for us. By the way, everybody I've met this weekend that's asked about the game and talked about it, like, warming my heart. We have our numbers from like corporate marketing and how many wish lists we have on Steam, and all those numbers are through the roof and amazing. But what matters to me is when someone comes up to me who's like in a power costume and is like, I can't wait for Date Everything. That's the best. So yeah, we got you monster people in mind, don't worry. Yeah. Yes, right there.
I was curious if there were any voice actors that you were like especially excited to work with, or not you like thought they would say no, or just like things like that.
Thought they would say no? All of them. Literally all of them. When we were texting Troy in particular, and I knew he was like in London shooting Indiana Jones, and I was like, hey bro, what do you know about treadmills? Dude, all of them. Some of them were super surreal for me. I mean, obviously we've been doing this for a long time, and you know there's something unique about Max, Ray, and I, which is that we all work in pretty much all the facets of voiceover. So like, I would say probably Max and I have done the most cartoons, but recently Ray has been catching up with X-Men 97 and all these other great cartoons. And Ray and I have done a ton of video games, and we've all done a lot of anime together, so we kind of know most people. So we knew the phone calls that we wanted to put in. And we knew most people would be like, yeah. But here's something else we did, and this is important, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but it's something that was important to us. We created a unique revenue share program for a lot of our talent. So we couldn't do it for all of our actors, yes. We couldn't do it for all of our contractors, but a lot of our key artists, programmers, writers, actually all of the writers will get a tiny little piece of share, and then we did a percentage share for all of our actors that they share and they split. So, you know, if this game sells, it won't, but if it does sell a couple million copies, we'll buy all of our actors an economy car. You know what I mean? So it was important to us to take a piece of the pie from our end as developers and say, do you trust us to do this? And will you do this game at scale, which is the base minimum price? And if you trust us, and we do a good job, and we do this as a favor for us, can we show you that we'll share too? So I can't tell you the percentages legally, but it's a pretty healthy cut of the game to get these people on board. And I want to tell you this, I don't think anybody cared about the money. I think they just appreciated that we were sharing whatever. There's no way we could have done this game without sharing a piece of the pie with all the talent that came on board. And I think it's a good lesson for life. I feel like we made a really big game for a really small to medium amount of money. Yeah, we're a little bigger than your average indie game. We're not quite low budget, but we were able to get all these talented people in and crush for nobody else could get this. It was literally like texting and asking and begging. But my favorite part is when everybody finished their sessions, people who've never done games before, people like Troy, people like Matt, people like absolute rock stars, everybody in the cast, they would leave the booth and go, that was hard, but that was the most fun I've had in the booth in ages. So that's how we knew we were onto something. After the first couple of weeks, and people were like, I had so much fun in that session, we were like, we got it, we gotta bang it. But don't pull the plug. So yeah, it's a hard sell, yeah. And it takes corporate work too, it takes lawyering. We have what's called a favored nations agreement, which is that nobody gets more than anybody else. So that takes a lot of people bending their egos back and saying, okay, nobody's gonna get top billing on this. Everybody gets top billing. So yeah, it's a very atypical casting experience. Most of it involved just asking our friends. Yeah, but yeah, good question. Somebody good, yeah, Nancy.
It's the second time this happened. Question about one of the characters that were recently announced. Whose idea was it on Benoit?
Benoit?
Whose idea was this?
BENHWA, Benoit. The mysterious objects in your bedside drawer. We just knew it had to happen. Too many jokes. Yeah, that character is played by Eric Ishii. If you missed the announcement, Ben is an awesome character. Really, I think goes a little deep. Oh, I can't. Story-wise. Come on. Goes a little deeper story-wise than you might expect. But that's the conceit, right? We present to you a trope, and then we subvert your expectations and give you a real person. So Ben's got quite a lovely sex-positive story to unfold. But all these characters have their own issues. So I can't remember whose idea Ben was, but it was definitely a must-have. We knew that was going to be one for sure. Yeah, good question. Isle, right here.
Yeah. What object would you say was the most difficult to conceive a character for?
Man, it's tough. The common ones become the harder ones. Like, we knew we had to have something to fill out space, so we had like this container character forever. We're like, we need something to put on the shelves. So in our game, the main rule is one thing is everything of that thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No.
So
No.
you have a lot more than 100 sounds like a lot, but you have a lot more than 100 things in your house if you parse them all out completely individually, right? So we had to decide that one toothbrush is all toothbrushes. But then we had to take that to a different level. I could find you 100 different things probably in your toiletries thing. So in order to fill out the space and make sense, we have a character that's just, oh my God, Styles.
Barry
Styles is just your beauty supplies. So we went, okay, it's everything, right? So we have categorizations that are characters, but then we also have the toilet, which is Max Middleman. And he's so good. He plays a French rapper named Jean-Loup Pissoir, AKA Lil Crapper. One of my all-time favorite characters. So good. Everybody loves Lil Crapper. So that was a trick, right? Like, how do we decide what's what and what's what? One of my favorite characters we just announced, Keith Farley, is Art. And
Yes.
Art's the secret character. If you'll notice, in the game, in the early playthroughs, the walls are kind of bare. So here's something you might not know. How you play the dates affects the house. So from a game building standpoint, everything has kind of a messy texture on it. So when you look at the coffee table, there's like a coffee ring, there might be some cobwebs in the ceiling, there's marks and smudges, like you just kind of, it's not the tidiest house, and the walls are bare, and there's no plants, and it just feels a little bit bare, and that's by design. So once you finally figure out how to unlock art, you have a deep philosophical discussion about what art is and what art isn't. Maybe see some of the other characters who think they're art, their feelings are a little bit hurt that they're not. And he helps you curate putting up art all around your house. And you can discuss what the art is or isn't. And he says, you can have a discussion about each piece and say, like, is this art or isn't? And he decides, depending on what that is, where you should put it and throughout the house, and the home starts to become more magical. And those messy textures start to go away. Then every time you get an ending with the character, when you take off the date gators, they have a magical interaction. So before you walk up and touch your hangers and they kind of just jiggle on the line. But if you get their ending, they jiggle on the line and then they like fly down the hallway and like it turns like kind of magical and lovely. Is the player character insane? I guess you'll have to find out. Good question though. That's how we handled that right here. I'll go faster, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, so I'm in this persona-related Discord server. This isn't related to date everything.
That's okay, we talk
at
about
all.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, oh, I'm gonna see Robbie Daymond today, and everyone's there like, oh, you're so lucky, blah blah blah.
Good.
And one of
Sounds like Discord to me.
yeah, one of them specifically said, yeah, boy,
Here.
tell him I love him.
Yeah, boy, can you tell your friend that I love them too? As
Wait,
long as
can I
they're a good
ignore
person
them?
and not a murderer.
Can I
Okay.
ignore them?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hi! Who are you? I love you, stranger.
Your username is Jen.
I can't. I'm sure you're a very nice person, Jay. I hope you have a good day. Here, a little related to data everything. In the game, we have an app, and that's where you talk to people in the outside world. It's called Discord.
Hey!
Good. I'm gonna go back. We'll come back to you. We'll go back here. Yeah. Glasses. You.
You kind of alluded this a little bit, but like, so with like, I was like Matt being D20.
Sure.
Allegra Clark being like Greek, I am a Pentameter warrior.
Yeah.
All of the Tide Pods.
Yeah.
How many times when you were doing like the character design did you just immediately go, I know who has to do this?
Ooh, a lot.
This has to be this person.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, some of them were even written for people. Should I spoil it or no?
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
No.
Yes.
It's not really a spoiler. It's already been leaked. Somebody found it in some of the footage from our promos, but Dante Bosco, Prince Zuko, Rufio, he plays Dante the Fireplace. And it was literally written for him. It's first of all, Dante's a great name for a fireplace, and second on, he's got this. Dante and I have been friends for like 12 years. He's got like this super, like kind of like smoky, raspy, sexy voice, and I was like, that's fireplace. But yeah, some of them were harder than others. Like the laundry detergent, the Greek warrior with the Greek chorus, that was a tough one. Because we were like, well, who can do this? Because we were surprised sometimes. Not every, I'll tell you this.
Oh.
Three quarters of the way through, we realized that for some characters, we messed up. We brought in people we thought would be perfect, and we're like, oh no, they can't read. We're cooked. I'm sorry, but like we cast people from TV, and we cast people that don't do video games. And some of the people who didn't do video games, their first video game were some of the best people. And the people that we thought had this pedigree were like, every session that I was directing, I would sit there like this and text like, hey, explain things, blah, 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 blah. And then they'd do their first few lines, and I would either go, cool. And I'd lean back in my chair, or they'd do their first lines, and I would go, okay, let's work through this a little bit, you know? So you don't know. So then somewhere around like 3/4 of the way through, before we had sent out all of our offers, we were like, hey, we should ask some of our friends to read for this to make sure they're right for it. Which is a little bit tough when you're asking people who might not read that much anymore. They might be offer only or whatever. We usually wouldn't ask offer only people, but if someone was willing to read, we would do it. And but Allegra, she didn't read. We knew her classical text abilities just knocked down the park. Yeah, that was an easy cast. Yeah, but lots of the times, yeah. One of my okay, I got one more. I'm talking too much. One of my favorites, already announced. By the way, this is so freeing to be able to talk about this now that so much stuff has been announced. Is Dana Schneider,
Oh, yeah.
who, if you're an OG, you would know as Master Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. One of the funniest humans in existence. Plays Von Trapp, the Rat Trap.
Yeah.
That's a secret character. You've got to like unlock the secret area to get to him. He came in. I don't think he's ever done a video. He's only done a couple of video games, and he gave us everything we asked for and like 40% improv. Wow. Just random stuff. And I was like, it's just solid gold too. So I'm in there at the script just like trying to catch up, and our engineer is like, I don't know what he's doing. I'm like, nobody knows. He's like, keep rolling. And then we wrapped the session, and I was like, that is the funniest thing I've ever heard. And Ray was working with programming, and I had to call him because he was like somewhere internationally or whatever. And I was like, dude, don't be mad at me. Because he's literally mad. He was like, Dana just came in and gave us 200 lines of gold out of nowhere. You're gonna have to rewrite his entire ink program. And he was like, God, I can't do it. I was like, just listen to it. And I just sent it to him. He's like, God damn it. So good. Because then you gotta write character choices based around all the stuff that he gave. It was unbelievably good. So yeah, I can't wait for you guys to meet Vaughn. Passionate lover. Anyway, let's go right up here.
Hello.
Scout respects our mascot. Stand up. You look so good. Yay! What's on your mind?
So, I wanted to know, like, how the process went from, like, deciding what objects you want to humanize, and then the process of working with the artists on their designs.
Figuring out the characters was me, Max, and Ray, and our very small three-person writing team that got together and sussed out the original list of about 110. We knew we were going to whittle it down. We saw where we could combine, and then as we started writing, some characters faded off into the distance, and other characters became more spotlighted. And then there was a second half to that. What was it?
Working with the artists on the character designs. What was that like?
That is one Erin Wong, aka Nijuku. She is a stone cold killer. We would come to her with a rough concept, and she would send us a character sheet, sketches, like you would see for an animated show. It would be in sketch forms. We would pick, and then Ray and I would go through all of the features and talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, what we wanted to pull, and some characters changed. We went through, we did North American averages for ethnicity and forward-presenting physical appearance in all ways. I don't know how to put. I'm speaking in legalese, but I think you know what I mean. And
Yes.
we tried to make those percentages representative of like this room, or even scoot a little bit heavier one way or the other. So some things worked, some things didn't, and you have to be really careful when you're like talking about the implications of potentially choosing an outward presenting ethnicity for an object. That's another crazy thing that we destroyed our minds about. We were just like, what does it mean to have a character from here or who looks this way to be this thing? We have to make sure that we're not leading ourselves into a stereotype. It's a crazy thing to think about though, right? But it's a real thing, because we know there would somebody be there being like, oh, well, why is this thing this presenting as this person? And God, I think we did okay. Somebody might catch us on something, but we had a huge writing team, and one of the things we're most proud about is that we had about 25 writers, each handling about 5 characters, and they are almost completely representative of the voice that they were using. So like all of our characters from wherever they're from, pretty dialed in with who their writer was. That was our first line of defense, to be making sure that we were creating something that was representational, not presentational. Yeah?
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, sweet. Yes, let's do you, right? Yeah.
Okay, follow-up question to that last question.
Okay.
Out of all the objects in the game that are dateable, which one do you find the hottest?
You son of a bitch. I can't believe you've done this. Okay. Let's see. See, I married a redhead, so if I say not a redhead, I'm dead. It's not a redhead. I know. This is going to reveal too much about myself. But this isn't, here's the weird part. This isn't even, okay. This isn't even something I'm necessarily into. But Sophia the Safe.
Oh my God, yes! Yes.
Someone's laughing way too hard over there. She's just this tall. She's just a big, tall, blonde lady. Just kind of like a step on me kind of lady. But that's not even what I'm about. But I'm about Sophia for some reason. Sophia's good for me. Henry Hoover. Played by Zeno Robinson. I'm pretty sure Zeno was our first person into studio for the vertical slice. He is one of the only people in the vertical slice that didn't get changed around like character-wise. And also maybe the tentpole character that sold the game. He's that hot. Fabrizio, the cabinets. Very attractive. Ooh. Text box Chun?
Oh, yes!
Oh my God. This is impossible. Can't believe you've done this. All right, somebody else. Let's do right here front. Here.
Hi, so I want to say as a first point, I think it's really commendable the way that you wrote in the idea of content warnings into the game.
Oh, content
I thought that was
warnings,
really smart.
Yeah.
And I just want to ask, you don't have to do any spoilers, obviously,
Sure.
but how much am I gonna cry playing this game? Who has like a heart-wrenching like?
Are they all real people? Then a lot of them. Yeah. No, it's very heartfelt. There's people going through like, people have problems. There's people who are not in the best place in their life. Some are funny and goofy and take you on a silly adventure, but there are some people really going through it. And you have to decide what kind of person you're going to be to them. Maybe there are some people that the best thing for them isn't to take a lover right now. but depends on how you want to play. So it all really depends. Quite a few. I wouldn't say it's overly maudlin. I think for the most part it's more feel good than sad, but there are definitely a few sad characters. In case you don't know, we've got a content aware warning in our game where Skylar will pop up, and it's not for that many characters. I'd say it's about 20% of them, maybe 25% of them, where they're going to dig into something that could potentially be like a trauma-based trigger. So it goes from big to small. Like if we deal with something big like abuse, we're definitely going to give you a content warning. And Skylar pops up and says, hey, just so you know, this story might get into some things that are X, Y, Z, and they're going to be that. Are you okay with that? And do you want to see this story? And you could also have that pop up for the first time ever and say, yes, I want this for sure. Or you can say, I don't want any of that. Give it all to me, and she'll never offer it to you again unless you turn it on manually, which you can do in the settings. So if you want to have a completely raw experience and open yourself up to all these different storylines, the first time that she offers you this, you can turn her down, or you can keep the feature on and decide character by character. But we just felt like if we're gonna get deep into some things, you as a player should have an opportunity to say, no thank you. So, and then I think I can't remember the full mechanic, but I think you get to pick your ending with them. You can pick lover friendship. So that if you're going for a certain kind of ending and you don't want to have that experience, you don't have to blow your playthrough. Yeah, we won't force you into a friendship ending.
No.
We'll let you pick. It's just a kindness.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe that original idea came from Amanda and Ray. We were very uncertain whether or not we'd be able to implement it. It's very complicated programming wise, but we're really happy with where we landed on it. So yeah.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you for clapping.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's really
glad you
awesome.
like it. Good. All right, I'll do a lightning round. I got 5 minutes. Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is a quick one. I'm a really big fan of Sun Won Cho.
Yeah.
What's Doug's deal?
Doug is your super ripped, super hot, faceless. Doug is, the technical character name is your overwhelming sense of existential dread. He's a secret unlock, and you have to do a certain thing to unlock him, and I won't tell you what that is ever. Yeah. No problem. Right here.
After the launch of the game, would you consider releasing like an art book that goes over all?
Yes, please.
Because you mentioned that you had so many different character sheets and everything like that.
We're working on it. Yeah. It's very. Tell your friends to buy it. If you want cool merch, we gotta earn it. Let's see, right here.
When music still taking video games, is there any songs in the game that you just go, oh, listen to that again?
Yeah, I gotta tell you that when. We're gonna release the full-length version of our Everything Leads to Love that was in the trailer. There's a full 4-minute version of it. It's written by Adam Berry and mixed by Garrett Williamson. Adam has 2 Grammys. This song is a banger. There's also the Date Everything theme song that has yet to come out. Somebody sang it. And then the full soundtrack will most likely release on the release date of the video game. It's 5 hours long. Yeah. Every single character has their own individual theme song, and and plus the overtures in the house, plus standalones. My favorite song though is if you go to one of the most recent announcements. One of my best friends and college roommate ended up becoming a star on Broadway. He was the lead in Kinky Boots. He was in all these amazing shows. He's in Tina, and we brought him in to play Bodie Windbreaker. And in Bodie's announcement, he sings a minute of his 2.5-minute song, which is a great song. So that's a banger too. Yeah, no problem. Soundtrack's huge. All original music, all written by Garrett Williamson. It's amazing. Yeah, right there.
You mentioned you had like a list of 110.
Yeah.
Can you give us some objects that didn't make it?
Somebody got the cut. Most of them got combined, right? So they ended up in the game in some form or another. Like we once had the character Boredom. You're gonna date your own boredom. It's a pretty fun character. I think she had you playing Sudoku, but you had to write it out. But it was fun but bad. But like it made you bored, which was good. But her mechanics got folded into another character and those themes. So that was one that got the cut. Like we once had you dating light only, but then we decided to make it light and light fixtures, so they kind of came into this one character, that sort of thing. We looked where we had overlap to where we could make it a manageable 100. But manageable. But there might be more than 100.
Oh.
Hey! Right there.
Out of the cast of characters, who would you say you are most like?
Who am I most like?
Oh.
Why would you do this? Did you guys have some sort of pact over here? Who's the most lovable dummy? I don't know.
Maybe the Hanks?
I wish I were the Hanks. I play the Hanks. That's the life I would want to live. Just I don't know. I'm probably most like Why did you do this to me? I don't know if I can do this. Let me think on it. I don't know. That's a hard one. It's a really, really hard one. All right. I'm going quick. Right here.
Who do you think is the ugliest?
Dishy, that guy sucks. Right here.
If you had to guess, how long do you think it would take to 100% the game?
Oh.
Well, we could extrapolate. If you're gonna 100% it, you're gonna at least listen to every other Duke line times on aggregate. Hold on. 60.
I can't wait.
Whoa! That can't be right. Let me do that one more time. I'm sorry, this is not the way to end doing math.
It's the best way.
Okay.
It is.
Divided by 6.
Get the answer.
Well, if you don't skip any lines, if you listen to them all, I don't know, 291 hours? It won't be that. I mean, I don't know, man. If you want to, well, here's the thing. You can't 100% it in one playthrough. You can date everything in one playthrough, but there's 3 endings for every character. Yeah. So, honestly, 290, if we did 80 hours, it's close. Maybe 200 something. And then each character has collectibles that you only unlock through certain branching dialogue choices. So it's an art piece, like a badge. So if someone like teases you a topic and you don't take the bait or you don't pick up on it, you'll never get that collectible. And you'll finish your playthrough and they'll have 5 collectibles, or I think 3 is the minimum, but one character has 37 collectibles. Whoa. If you jack it up, you could finish the game and be like, you could get all 3 endings, but still not have a collectible. And you'll have to go back and be like, why is there a missing collectible? Anyway, sorry completionists! But it is doable. Everything in our game is doable. Yeah, right there. Yeah, I got you.
What's it like working with Steve Blum?
Oh.
And just asking for a friend. You know any good pancake places around here?
You son of a bitch. What's happening? You gotta hit me with an Akechi joke right at the end? Yeah, it's called Waffle House. Don't get killed. Steve's the best. He plays Able to Table. I think the guy behind you is cosplaying him right now. You look awesome. I love Steve. One of the best voiceover guys in the world. I'm going over. I'm sorry. We'll finish this right there. Yeah.
Will the game have a collector's edition or a deluxe edition?
I'm not allowed to say about the deluxe edition legally. I don't know. But I can tell you this, because it's real. Download for Steam and all 3 platforms on June 17th. Physical edition for all consoles at your local GameStop in August. So, super exciting. We'll have a physical edition. There's one last question right in the middle, right there.
Are you ready for all your future panels to be fitted by furniture?
If I don't kiss at least one air fryer before this is over, it'll be the end. Thank you guys for coming.